Irfan. So today I got some requests from some of my, candidates or friends. They want some kind of sessions where I do cover some kind of interview questions of Agile and Jira, right? So as we know that, right, the person who is a fresher, right, or who is not having a real industry experience and here they did some kind of coaching classes, right, but they want to see how that interview questions comes regarding Agile and Jira with real time scenarios, right? Real time scenarios in the sense, like for example, what does happen in the company, how does it handle kind of Agile and Jira, because they all are the software development kind of tools which is required a lot if you have a real hands-on experience, right? Or if you are applying for 4 to 5 years of experience in the company, right, you must know that how this Agile and Jira work actually. So today's session I designed for those candidates who are looking the job in industry, and if they want to understand how this Agile Jira questions ask and how you can answer of these questions. So I have designed some questions on it. So let me open that file and we'll cover one by one everyone. Okay, every questions. So first question is, what is Agile? So Agile is a one kind of software development process, right? Here I did not write the answer. You just catch my word and you have to, if you're not able to recall, you just rewatch it again and again, right? You will get it, because if I will go with this, type that things, right, it will take a lot of time. So I reduce that. So instead of that, I just, just talking, you can listen and you can make a note of it accordingly. And then if you skip something, you can rewatch it, right? So first question will come, what is Agile? So Agile is a software development life cycle, right? Which does help to work parallelly, right? Parallelly means every team, right? Which industry have, which software development have, they having a tester, right? Which is called QA, quality analysis, right? And second, we have our quality engineer, right? QA. And second one is kind of software engineer, that is called backend engineer, right? And front-end engineer also there if it is a kind of web application, right? So we have a 3 type of role: front-end engineer, back-end engineer, and QE, right? Quality engineer. They do test the application, right? So what is Agile? Agile is one kind of software development process where multiple person here I'm talking about back-end, QE, and front-end, they all work parallelly, right? And they do not affect the other work. Like for example, QA is doing his own task, developer is doing his own task, front end is doing his own task, kind of that. They all does work parallelly in all that areas, whichever is required. So that is all about the Agile. Before that, people were using kind of waterfall model or a spiral model, something like that. But Agile is one of the popular model right now, and every company are using it. But when we are using the Agile, some question will come. What is Epic? Epic is a one kind of module, you can think like that. Suppose you are going to develop some kind of module. Let's take example, you are going to develop some kind of like say card application, right? It's like kind of e-commerce application, right? Where you are going to develop some kind of logics where could be perform that card implementation, right? So card will having a lot of features, right? We have to think how these elements are coming, how the element are storing, right? So they are having a multiple things on it, right? So that multiple things are coming, that things comes under the Epic. So Epic is kind of one of the modules, like card is one kind of module. Inside that we may have a multiple kind of features. Multiple kind of features we will have, right? So or multiple I can say the steps we will have to implement it, right? Epic cannot be implemented directly. Epic further divided into subtasks. So Epic is, you can understand, like it's a bigger task which could be further divisible to the other task. So that is a kind of Epic. So first thing that will come under the Agile, which is called Epic, right? So Epic is one of the important part, which is one kind of module, like one kind of features, right? Epic is kind of features as well, we can say like that, which will be integrate or which could be implement in many steps, right? So that is Epic, right? Third question will come, what is a PI planning? That is called program increment planning. So remember that when you are working on the Agile methodology, right, then PI planning will happening every quarter. Every quarter means that will happen in 3 months. Like for example, that is start from the suppose January to January, February, March. So that will be for 3 months. April, May, June, then it will be 3 months. Then July, August, September will be 3 months. Then October, November, December will be again 3 months. So that means every year we will have a 4 PI planning. That you have to understand that. Every PI planning will consider the 3 months. That will happen in that depend on the company to company, right? Some company will having a like in 3 days. Some of the company may take a 1 week. Normally it does take 3 days, right? On that time, what happen, right? We do plan, or that our team will plan what we are going to implement in next 3 months. Okay, so every PI planning will happen in every 3 months, and in the 3 months, what we are going to cover, that all we are going to I can discuss on like we can discuss on it. On that we have something committed features and something we have uncommitted features, right? What is the meaning of committed feature and uncommitted feature? Committed feature means the feature which we are going to develop fully fledged. Uncommitted means the feature which we are not going to cover completely, but yeah, they are going to cover somewhere, like maybe in middle. We may not going to cover all the features, maybe some of the features we may cover it. So in PI planning, let's say I have 4 epic, right? I have 4 epic. On that 3 epic I can say, okay, we are going to complete this. That's kind of committed. And uncommitted, we can say, okay, one of the epic having some kind of issues, or maybe having some kind of dependency, or maybe we don't have a kind of proper bandwidth, we don't have proper developers on it, right? We don't have a proper tester for it, right? That time we are taking is like uncommitted. So uncommitted we can take on a many kind of many scenarios on it, right? We have many situation on it, and according to that we can decide it could be uncommitted. So in PI planning, always remember that will happen like quarterly, right? So that will decide. How does it decide? So like for example, today 25 is going on, right? So 25.1, that means that could be start from January to March, right? Again, that could be from April to June, that could be 25.2. So that way we do understand which PI is going on right now. So you can decide that it's the first PI is going on, it is the second PI is going on, third PI is going on, or fourth PI is going on. So that way it does decide, right? So every PI will having a three months, that you have to remember that, and that can be divided in that way: 25.1, 25.2, 25.3, 25.4, something like that, right? So that is all about the PI planning. Next we have what is retrospective. Retrospective is something which will happening on every sprint. Okay, a sprint is what? A sprint is something which you are going to cover in 15 days. Like for example, you got a one sprint, right? So like one question will come: how many sprint we have in PI planning? That is also one of the question. How many sprint do you have in PI planning? So what I can say that how many sprint do you have in PI planning? So PI planning will be in quarterly. A sprint we will have on a, not a sprint, it should be a sprint. A sprint we have for 2 weeks. That means 15 days, right? So in 15 days, what do we happen, right? We have a total 5 sprint, right? So how many sprint should we have? We should have a 5 sprint in 1 PI. After that, what should happen? 1 week we have for innovation. Okay, and then we have like 1 sprint, that could be say like 1 for innovation, 5 for sprint we have, right? 5 is sprint for it, 1 is for innovation, like, and 3 days for kind of, I can say like for that PI planning. Okay, and rest we have a 1 more sprint, that could be for some kind of research on it, right? Some kind of research. So that way it does decide. So for example, this research will take like 1 week. Research and PI planning, both that does take like 2 weeks, right? And then what happen after that? Then innovation will take like 1 week, right? So that means total 6 weeks, right? And 1 week extra, that could be kind of innovation, something like that, right? Or sometime we have that company to company also dependent. Innovation also is a part of that PI planning research, kind of that. So 1 week we have a like innovation, PI planning and research, kind of that. So total we have a 6 week kind of, right? So 6 week that's kind of complete things happening in the PI planning. So 5 sprint we have, right? We have one innovation, then we have PI planning that is happening in 3 days, and one could be that for research kind of that. So one we have for the research kind of that. So this all things come under the PI planning, right? Then what is retrospective? Retrospective will happening on every sprint. Suppose you are doing work, you are starting work from, you are finishing the work of one sprint. So what could be the challenges we have faced, right? What could be the issue? What was the issue? How can we overcome that? What is the thank you note? If someone has supported to you, will you give some kind of thank you note to them? So in retrospective, that will always happen when your sprint is going to end. On the day when your sprint is going to end, on the same day, what happened, right? On the same day, retrospective will happen. On that, your Scrum Master will discuss with everyone, right? And then they will ask you what kind of thought you have, what was the challenges we have faced, how can we overcome that, what was a dependency we have, what was a thank you note, who does help you. So this kind of like what was good, what was wrong, right? What kind of suggestion you will give to overcome this kind of challenges. So that all things come under the retrospective, right? And retrospective will happen on, remember that, for every sprint. So whenever you're, so suppose you have 5 sprint, right? So that means how many retrospective we have in a one PI, that will happen into a 5 sprint, 5 retrospective. And retrospective will happening on the day when sprint is going to end and new sprint is going to start. On that day, retrospective does happen, right? Next question is that how do you report to your manager? That is also one of the important question. So normally what happen, right? Every day we do have a stand-up, that is called DSU, right? DSU, which is called stand-up, daily stand-up unit, something like that, right? Where all your team member do connect. That does happen actually, depend on the company to company, right? But normally it does happen 2 times. One is at beginning the day and second one is at end of the day, right? One is at beginning the day, right? And second will be when the day is going to end of the day. Then again, depend on the company to company. Some of the company may have a like single only. Some of the company may have a like 2 also, right? So that in DSU itself, everyone does share their kind of progress, what they did, how much they implemented, and where they are lacking, right? That all things they are discussing in the DSU only. So in the DSU itself, your manager, your Scrum Master, your team lead, right, whoever it is there, they will connect on it and they will talk to, they do listen that kind of progress, what kind of challenges you have, that kind of phases. So normally that is also one of the question, how do you progress or how do you report to your manager? So that always does happen under the DSU only. In the DSU, we do have a twice in a day, right, where you will share your kind of, like work progress, how much you have finished, right? That all things you do cover in the DSU itself. So always remember that we do not kind of send any specific message or a specific mail to the manager, right? We do discuss that over the DSU itself. If it is a major concern for them, we do share some message in the team to discuss with some other teams, right? That time we do share some mail, but normally it does not happen. We do discuss that in a daily stand-up itself, right? So that is all about kind of how do you report to your manager. Next question is that who is your manager? So that is also one of the question, who is your manager? So normally if you are junior developer or you're a developer or you're a senior developer, right? That time your manager or to whom to you will report, right? That will be your team lead. It may be possibility your project manager could be also, you can report it, but normally it does not happen. Normally team lead does take the status of all the team members, who is a junior developer or senior developer, right? So that is the answer of this particular question. Next question, what is the difference between story and spike? That is one of the important question, right? So as I told you, right, we have epic. So one epic may have n number of stories. One epic may have n number of stories and n number of spike. But one thing you have to remember, that the difference between story and spike is that story will having some kind of testing involved. Like after completing your task, you will have a test QE has to test it. QE means quality engineer, that is a tester, has to test it, right? But spike doesn't have any kind of, spike is something kind of research actually. Spike is some kind of research which you will do it, which is not a kind of implementation, you have to make some kind of document for it. That's the steps we have to follow it, right? Or that kind of scenario we have to follow it. So that all comes under the spike only. So story and spike. Story is something which is having some kind of development as well as testing. Spike means you have some kind of document, you have to document it and you have to make it in a proper way. So you will attach that with the story, right? And then will be fine like that. How do you estimate your story? That is also one of the question. How do you estimate your story? So normally what happen, right? As I told you, we have an epic. In the epic, we have like a number of stories, right? So how do you estimate it? So estimation will happening. Actually, we have one more things here, which is sprint planning. So when do we sprint planning, right? In the sprint planning itself, we do a plan, right? What feature we are going to take and how we can break it. So they do have a kind of discussion with all kind of teams, and depending on their experience, they do suggest, okay, this is going to cover in 1 day, this is going to cover in 2 days, this is going to cover in 3 days, or it will take like a week, kind of that only, right? So that way they do estimate the story, and estimation always will happening in the points only. Estimate always will happening in the points. So that means if you are saying 1 point, that means 1 day. If you are saying 2 points, that means 2 days. If you are saying 3 points, that means 3 days. So total we have like 10 days in a one sprint. You can calculate that. We have a normal 5 days working, right? So total we have a 10 days, and 10 days we have a like 10 story point. Sometime we have a kind of meeting, right? So they do make a buffer as well 1 day. So they may have a like 9 story point in a sprint, 8 story point in a sprint. That is also depend on the team to team, right? So normally we have a like max to max we have a 10 points, and if it is having a some kind of buffer, they may having a some kind of 8 point or 9 point as well. That means that a sprint or that estimation we will do for one sprint, right? That will having a max to max 8 story point and 10 story point, 10 max to max, right? And 8 could be below it, and minimum should be the 1. So every developer will take kind of 8 or 10 story points, kind of that, right? So that way we do estimate that work will take 1 day or 2 day or 3 day. That way we do estimate it, and then we have to decide the kind of points on it, right? What is a story point and how do you decide it? That is one of the things. What is a story point? As I told you, right? A story point is nothing like a number of days which we are going to take. How do you decide it? That does decide on the basis of work. What work we are going to take? Does it kind of work which I already work on it, so that I will make it like some less story point. If it is the new, completely new, or it may have some kind of dependency, right, then I will extend it. Normally as a beginner, right, if you are thinking something, right, you will take 1 or 2 story point extra, so that will help you a lot to recover it, right? So this is all kind of small kind of interview questions which we have here, and if you will watch it, right, if you will listen it, if you will take care of it, right, definitely that will help you a lot to take a job, right? Because everyone will get this kind of questions in interview. That is also called scenario based question. Scenario based questions for Agile and Jira, right? How do you tackle this all kind of questions? So I have covered this answer on it. If you have any other doubt on it, right, you can put me on comments, right? Or you can it did not cover all the questions, but yeah, some of the questions it is covered. The rest of the question I will make one more video, which is a part of 2. On that I will cover some of the questions, right? So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, I will definitely recommend, please give a subscribe, so you will get the updated videos on it. That will definitely help you to grow your career, to get the good job, or to survive in the IT industry. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys. Bye bye.